Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Banking on Innovation podcast. I'm so pleased today to invite our guest, Nathalie Larue. We are going north of the border to Desjardins. And Nathalie is the Executive Vice President and Head of Personal Banking and member of the Desjardins Group Management Committee. She oversees all of personal banking, including strategy, distribution, products, and digital. And she's been with Desjardins for over 20 years and a member of the management committee since 2017. I think you will find her comments very inspiring. Nathalie, welcome to the podcast.
Well, thank you so much, Jody. Happy to be with you today.
Great. We're so pleased to have you, Nathalie, and perhaps maybe just share a little bit about your background, or maybe what inspired you to have a journey in banking in the first place. It'd be great for you just to share that with the audience.
Well, thank you so much for the question. Essentially, I started my career within Desjardins as a student. My father used to work for Desjardins, and so he's the one that took me here one summer. And after an undergrad from McGill, I was hired by another Canadian bank. And after 2 years, Desjardins came to see me back. I left again a few years later to go into management consulting. But essentially, it took only a few years after that for Desjardins to come and offer me a new position, a new role in one part of the organization I was really interested in was commercial banking at the moment. So since 2003, I've been back, happy to be, and I've had the opportunity to work in commercial banking and retail banking, as well as strategy for the group, marketing, and different organization-wide projects.
What an amazing journey. And maybe for our audience, Nathalie, we can talk a little bit more about the background around Desjardins. Desjardins is the largest financial cooperative in North America, almost 8 million members, over 50,000 employees, and over $480 billion in Canadian assets. Maybe you can share, why do members choose and also stay with Desjardins?
Well, essentially, I think that our members, what they mostly feel is the purpose of our group is to always do what's best for our members and clients. We really aim at meeting their needs and expectations. Being a cooperative, members and clients are really at the center of everything that we do. And all our transformation that is going on has always been orchestrated to meet members' financial needs, really reinforcing their confidence in their ability to make informed financial decisions, always based on their own unique experiences. So essentially, that's what our members tell us, is that they feel the difference on a day-to-day basis, and they feel that when they talk to us, well, we're all geared to making sure that they get the best product as well as make the best financial decision for their own projects and their own lives.
So Nathalie, as sometimes said, you are fortunate enough to be part of the management team, and you're kind of in the room where it happens. Over the past several years, we've had, or actually more recently, we've got elevated interest rates, inflation, challenger banks that are penetrating the market, and then advancements in technology, with seemingly at a whirlwind pace. How have the conversations in the management committee evolved, and what do you see as some of the most pressing conversations now as part of the management committee?
Yes, well, you're describing a situation where we see a lot of volatility and a lot of things happening in the environment that have an effect direct on our either retail or our commercial clients that do business with us. What I think that is the most important part of the conversations that we have is always trying to oversee what's coming for them, what's going to affect our members. Always try and look ahead, and making sure that our more than 15,000 employees that are on a day-to-day basis in contact with those members are ready to give the best advice. So essentially, as all the other institutions, we have been under a significant transformation. I lead the personal banking transformation for now, what I think it's the 5th year. We aim to really improve the online user experience because our members want to do their banking when they want to do their banking, where they want to do their banking. So essentially, we're trying to make sure that the capacity is available for them, and we need to promote greater digital adoption, because essentially that's what's really helping our members achieve what they want to. So I think that some of the challenging conversations we've had is, always asking us the questions, are we going fast enough? Are we doing the best thing for the members? Are we aiming at providing the right solution at the right time? Because we have choices that we need to make. We've been providing financial services for 125 years this year, and we're trying on a short period of time to provide all this in a consistent and pertinent manner in a new digital world at a pace that's really accelerated. But Desjardins has demonstrated substantial increase in online sales. We're now from 25% in 2021. We've reached 40% of our products being sold to our customers, to our members and clients, that are done online now. So I'm talking about checking accounts, savings, mutual funds, credit cards, loans, mortgage renewals. This performance has brought us ahead of the average of the Canadian banks, 14 points in average ahead. So there are things that we're doing fast, and there are things that we're doing well. And it's been that we have also very good NPS benchmark studies that at first, I remember 5 years ago, we were 8th on 9 financial institution measured. In the past 2 years, every quarter, we've been in the top 3. So the way that mostly we have the conversations is, are we working on the right things? Are we going fast enough? And is our frontline able to really manage change with our customers at the right pace? And I guess we're talking about the right things.
Yeah, very impressive indeed, and inspiring. I want to come back to the investments you're making in digital, but before I do, maybe just touch on this notion that you mentioned, which is that it's been 125 years since you've been operating, and yet it almost seems like in the most recent time frame, the expectations have risen. Member expectations have risen. You commented on the ability to deliver advice and guidance, and it almost seems like, and maybe you can just comment on this, do you feel like the bar has been raised in terms of customers and members expecting their primary financial institution to know them better and even to anticipate potential financial needs?
Yes, for sure. And it's going really fast. We know now that, most of our customers, they don't compare us to other banks. They're comparing us to other service providers they do business with. And I don't want to mention their names, but there's this company that at 4 in the afternoon, you can decide you want to have a new pair of sneakers. You go online, you buy it, and the next morning it's at your door. I mean, this is what we've been compared to by our customers. So we need to do things simple. We need to be able to show that we can personalize things, and at the same time, well, we kind of need to also show we're a financial institution, that we have the highest security measures. So it is a lot to do at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. It's really an amazing time for the entire industry if you adopt the notion that it's a noble business,
Yes.
and the expectations are even higher now to meet the needs of members. So Nathalie, you talked about the digital experience, and Desjardins making a big bet in the digital experience, and really is at the forefront of, I'll call it, humanizing the digital channel. So perhaps you can comment on what customer and member research led you to some of the decisions you've made, and what are you doing to create a more personalized digital experience?
First of all, I want to start by saying that a few years ago, while we started this important transformation, I was also heading the marketing group. So essentially, I had both my hands in customer data and in the customer's voice. So knowing that all other financial institutions are investing in digital channels, sorry, and I was saying a little earlier, we're not the biggest. Our ambition was to try and find a way to keep the pace with those who would be, we call them the top three in terms of online experience perception. So we used the PRISM study by Bain to measure ourselves. So as I said earlier, in 2021, there was a big gap for us to fill. And one of the reasons was that members and clients were telling us that it was tough for them when they were trying to do things by themselves on autonomous channels to get advice, to be able to make sure that they were making the best decisions. And we could see at the time that leading FIs in terms of online experience perception in these channels, particularly on mobile, they had deployed personalized advice supported by analytics. And the second thing that we also did was get into the Finalta 2022 and 2023 comparative studies. And it showed gaps with competitors in terms of frequency and of quality of mobile connections. So the most successful FIs had deployed financial management solutions with predictive and personalized advice. And that was really for us a key moment in the decisions that we made afterwards. So instead of just bringing more and more options of doing things online, it was, how do we guide our customers? How do we hear their voice? How do we make sure that they feel secure and they feel that they're making the right decision for their own personal situation?
Yeah, it's quite a journey that Desjardins is on. Maybe you can also unveil Alvie to the audience, introduce Alvie, and talk about how Alvie was born, and what do you hope Alvie will become?
Well, essentially, I must say that it was born from a challenge that I gave my team, because I read press releases as other executives do, and I had read a few press releases where it had solutions like Personetics solution that were mentioned, and so I went back to my team after a quarterly meeting, telling them, I always tell you, are you looking at what others do? Are you looking at, and you always say yes. Now, what I want to know now is, why isn't that important to us? why don't we have a solution like Personetics? So I understand that we're doing other things, but I kind of took the question the other way around. And so they came back like a few weeks or months later telling me how they made room to try and deploy it as fast as possible. I think that everybody could see that as we say in hockey, that the puck was going that way, and that,
Yeah.
so we had to go in the corner and kind of get the puck. So we made Alvie available to our members a few months ago. Essentially, the concept for us is, and it's always been in our 125 years of life at Desjardins, the importance of financial education, a certain sense of autonomy that we want to give our members. So the concept was generally very well received, allowing for a better control of our members' own finances. What we gave them is a deepening knowledge in sometimes an unclear field. You want to reach your financial goals? Well, you have to establish them, and we're going to help you figure it out along the way. So in one of the surveys that we conducted about the new merchant insight that we gave, respondents felt monitored by Desjardins. But this monitoring was perceived very positively, as if respondents felt supported by us. So according to them, also, it kind of showed kindness in our part. You're monitoring me in a way that the information you're giving me back is making me make better life decisions and better financial decisions. And so that, was very well perceived by our members.
That's really great to hear. I have my own spousal story as well, because we shared one of the insights that we received was you have a duplicate transaction charge for $175 at Nordstrom's. So I brought it to my wife's attention, and I said, "Isn't this great? This is coming from Personetics." She says, "Do you have a problem with me buying 2 outfits at Nordstrom's?" So I had to retrench and just say, "No, I just really like the insight." So you can get in trouble when you take those insights too seriously.
Yeah. But, jokes apart, since our members really primarily interact now online, and they use the mobile app in a very steadily increasing pace, it really made sense to bring Alvie, like to bring someone where the members are, to really make sure that we support them in managing their finances on a daily basis, and to promote that financial autonomy. What we see is that Alvie will humanize our mobile app. Actually, it already does, and we make the bet that the app will become indispensable for them, like a go-to application. And to make sure that people are interested in what Alvie has to say, and what kind of insight it will give them on the sources of income, expenses, and soon anticipate like future events through proactive insight.
Yes, such a good point. And I want to acknowledge Desjardins' efforts in really advancing this idea of humanizing the digital channel and making it even more, progressing that whole capability, even though I believe the entire industry we're still at our incipience in terms of what's possible. But so it's so important to take these steps forward and then learn from the feedback that you're getting from members. So along those lines, how is the member feedback so far? How has it shaped your thinking moving forward?
Well, we have already launched nearly half of the average number of insights in the industry, which has more mature solutions than we do. So even though Alvie is new, we're already displaying almost as many insights per month as do the average leaders in the industry. And essentially, what people are telling us is that they're very happy about it. Like the number of insights we have in production by the end of last year was 23, so which is pretty good in only a few months. The average insights that are displayed per member was 7, so which is also, I think, pretty good results. So people go to it, they use it, they respond to it, they give 4 stars, and that's it. And they're asking for more. Essentially, I think that we were kind of pushing Alvie, and I think now that members are pulling on Alvie, and they're making it important for us to continue on provide the best insights possible.
Yeah, that must be really gratifying. Also, not just for the organization, but also for the people involved. It must be quite motivating.
We have a big front line, and essentially what our advisors were looking at in our digital transformation was always asking us, well, these are people now that we're not talking to anymore. And now we can tell them, well, you know what? We're talking to them. We're talking in a different manner, and essentially be ready, because when they're going to call you, or well, they're going to come in a branch, or when they're going to call at our relationship center, they're going to come with very good questions, and they're going to come really in a sense, hoping that you're going to listen and listen hard to their questions. So, high tech and high touch. And you need to make sure that you provide high tech, but you need to make sure that when you're in touch with the people afterwards, well, you make it worthwhile.
This is such an important point, Nathalie, and maybe doesn't get enough attention in this environment where it's so cool and interesting to talk about digital and the continued advancements around the experience and the capabilities. Now Desjardins has made a proclamation that, based on changing members' behaviors, that you're in the process of reducing the branch footprint by 30% overall. What have you learned about this process of branch rationalization? And maybe you can comment on some of the points you were just making, which is, how does the front line get excited about some of the advancements in digital, or even promote the advancements in digital, or take advantage of that?
Yes, well, you're right. In recent years, we've noticed a significant drop in the use of several of our transaction methods. So at the end of last year, so 2024, teller services only made up to 1% of the transaction volume, while ATMs only made for 3% of the transaction volumes. So you can see that our members really appreciate our online services, and Desjardins continues to position itself among the best 3 in the industry for the online experience. So you kind of need to decide where you're going to give the service and how you're going to give it, because you need to remain competitive to invest at the pace we need to invest to broaden the digital experience. And essentially, most people that do their business on digital, they're not going to a branch, to a case for support. Most of the time, they're going to call the call center. So the traffic is moving in a different way. So that means making rigorous and very responsible choices, especially in a cooperative financial group that strives to always, do what's best for its members and clients. It's really a balance that isn't easy to find. So our local case network, so there's 200, and they have more than 500 branches. They know their community well. So they decide on the changes that we need to make. So essentially, we provide data, we provide information, and their board of directors. Their board of directors are elected members by the case members. They decide to remove an ATM or close a service center. And those decisions are always based on the fact that it's no longer being used enough. So we're not abandoning any members. We have solutions that help them, continue on doing business in a regional manner. But we understand that this may require some adjustments for some of our members, but we're helping them in the transition.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is, as you have pointed out, it's a journey and one that is continuing to be informed by members and trying to aspire to meet the next set of needs by members. But it's one that I think is an exciting one for the industry.
It is. It's a challenging one. I'm going to
A
say
challenging one
a
for
challenging
sure.
one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Speaking of challenges, the notion of open banking now is being embraced and engendered in different parts of the world at different pace and different scale. So how do you see open banking with all of its advantages as well as its challenges? How might that change the landscape for both customers and banks in Canada?
Well, essentially, I must say that in Canada, we're always waiting to see is there going to be regulation or not. So we always think that in 3 months regulation is going to be there, but we've been saying that for a few years. So I'm not going to comment on this more than the fact that what we expect is that open banking will provide more control to consumers over their data and personal information. We hope, and I think the industry is working on making sure that increases security within the Canadian financial ecosystem, and that it will provide access to data-driven financial services. In Canada now, there's around 9 million consumers who use third-party financial services to manage their finances. So while these financial services can help consumers improve their financial outcome, it raised many concerns in regards to security, privacy, as well as liability because of the process that's being used today. This process is known as screen scraping, and it implies sharing sensitive information, in that case, confidential banking credentials to third parties. So essentially, in the long run, that's not a sustainable system that we want to continue on living with. So on top of the security issues that is raised today, what we're really aiming for is is to bring benefits to both retail consumers, businesses, as well as the overall economy. So maybe I can provide a first example for consumers: easy and secure access to their full financial portrait. We know that consumers rarely bank with only one institution. So, that is one benefit that one could get. For businesses, well, the integration between accounting softwares, banking data, will improve quality and access to data in a timely manner. Mostly for small businesses, we know that these people have a lot of things to do to manage their businesses. We also oversee possible increased efficiency because of reduced administrative burden if you give them access to a large portfolio of digital services, add-on services. And for the economy, well, the positive impact on innovation and competitiveness, I think that will be supported by the opportunity of us to work in a better ecosystem.
Well, Nathalie, it sounds like you've prepared Desjardins well. I know that this is in Canada, it's a collaboration between the industry and also regulators to step into this process in a way that is safe, productive, and as you said, delivers value to the entire ecosystem. So I'm optimistic about what we'll see, but also very encouraged by how ready Desjardins is to take on this next movement.
Yes, so are we, making sure that we can see in the future what's going to help our clients and members, and make sure that that's where we put our energy, and that we support innovation and the whole business sector.
So, Nathalie, you've been an amazing guest, and we like to have our guests also be thought provoking around what's coming in the future. So we like to end with this final question, which is, what do you think customers will expect from the banking industry in the next 3 to 5 years, for which the industry is not well prepared?
Well, I think that stop worrying about numbers and money, and start worrying about their dreams, about their ambitions, and making sure that we provide support for that. And that, yes, money is a part of the equation, but it's only a part of the equation. So I think that, this is how we're going to stay relevant in everybody's life, is that if we can focus on better understanding why people get up in the morning and what they hope to do during their day, and making sure that their finances is there for them to just fulfill their dreams. I think that if they feel that kind of support and that kind of presence, I think we can make a big difference in people's lives.
Yeah, that's a tall task, and again, a very noble ambition. In fact, recent research that we did, it reinforced that being well financially, it actually even exceeded the other top two goals for consumers, which is having strong personal relations and also good personal health. So those were the top three, and it speaks to perhaps even the interconnectedness of the three. When your financial well-being is well taken care of, it does reflect on your overall happiness in terms of other relations, and then clearly around your personal well-being and your health as well. So it underscores the importance, such an important role that the industry is taking on.
Mm-mm.
Nathalie, it's been wonderful to have you, and again, thank you for sharing your wisdom. It's exciting to see the journey that Desjardins is on.
Help. You guys have helped us along the way, and you've pushed us, to go faster and to do things in a very agile way. So we're better with a strong ecosystem around us.
That's so important to recognize, where more and more the industry is competing more on its ecosystem, not just its internal ecosystem, but its broader ecosystem as well. So thank you for saying that, and I wish you the best. And again, thank you for being such a terrific guest.
Thank you for having me today.
Thank you for joining another episode of Banking on Innovation. Make sure you subscribe to get future podcast episodes. Please follow us on LinkedIn and at Personetics.com.